read, going to Guyana now, a little of the Guyana experience. I have written a poem here about our national poet, Martin Carter, a black poet. He was very great. And Martin Carter's poem, I just want to read that to give you a little touch of the Guyanese black experience. Understanding images and meanings from Guyanese Martin Carter poems. And his famous quote from Martin Carter is with us today, is this: "Death must not find us thinking that we die. Death must not find us thinking that we die." That's his famous words. And it's being quoted around the world. What does that mean?
Immortality.
That death must not bring an end to the black struggle for justice.
Oh.
So if somebody dies, the struggle continues.
Okay.
Death must not find us thinking that we ever die. Understanding images and meanings from Guyanese Martin Carter's poem. What is a poem? What is poetry? Why do we write poetry? In our last poetry reading session of May 18, 2008, we were challenged to find answers to these questions and on this universal artistry by my Guyanese countryman, Dr. Cicely Rodway, to deeper understand its magical powers of creativity, yet unrivaled. Those goadings set me to work with the intent to find out and to look a bit more closely at critiques of Guyana's Martin Carter's poems by some notable Caribbean literary personalities, and without doubt, I stumbled upon some answers which widened my horizons of a greater poetic understanding that commends. George Lanning of Barbados, through a Martin Carter tribute, commented on the delinquent emergent middle class who eagerly awaited on the wings to take over from the foreigners with nothing different from the people they are trying to replace, utterly disunited, and who represented nothing different from the people they are trying to replace, a deception that rings. Tim Hector of Trinidad saw in Martin Carter's poetic lines a credo that used the poetic art to illuminate social questions and to change foreign impositions in order to facilitate the need by motivating the people of the times, and saw the need not to sleep to dream, but to dream to change the world of its sinful implications. Guyanese Yan Carew saw Martin Carter's poetry as sheer lightning that illuminates the dark Guyanese skies, and likens it to great poetry that sheds light in the midst of darkness and great upheavals in the heavens. He sees Martin Carter as the poet of Guyana's awakening that drives attention toward the cruel torpor of colonialism, slavery, and the imposition of indentured labor of the colonial seasons. Above all, Yan Carew said, Carter's poetic voice speaks across the real and imagined divisions of race, class, religion, and the monstrous legacy of the sugarcane. He openly declared that the intellectuals of Carter's generation searched for a new Guyanese identity of less morass, and that they turned to the neglected reservoirs of our culture through new eyes, as if a new nation to inflame. Again, Carew further informs that when Martin Carter turned from ideologies because of the lingering nightmare of internecine strife and repression, when the posturings and grotesqueries of a neo-colonial dictatorship had been the order of the day of ignoble vagaries. And Carter's voice then became prophetic when he declared, "This I have learned, today a speck, tomorrow a hero, hero or monster, you are consumed in a state of quiet resignation." And it goes on and on. It's a bit long.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Mahesh. Very inspiring. First class, great scholar, that's for sure. Great writer. I want to know or not if anyone has anything to contribute to Black History Month. Whether you learned something in high school, at community college, in terms of the contribution of Black people to history and inventions, George Washington Carver, Benjamin Banneker, who invented the first wooden clock in Washington, D.C., and he was responsible for the layout.
The end of the day. Lord, you know, my own people mistreat me, and you know, this just ain't right. They don't like my hair, they don't like my skin, and they say I'm too dark or too light. Lord, don't you think it's time to make a change? Why don't you redo creation and make everyone the same? God replies, why did I make you black? Why did I make you black? I made you in the color of coal, from which beautiful diamonds are formed. I made you in the color of oil, the black gold which keeps people warm. Your color is the same as the rich, dark soil that grows the food you need. Your color is the same as black stallions and panthers, or what majestic creatures indeed. All colors of the heavenly rainbow can be found throughout every nation. When all colors are blended, you become my greatest creation. Your hair is the texture of lamb's wool, such a beautiful creature he is. I am the shepherd who watches them. I will always watch over thee. You are the color of midnight sky. I put star glitters in your eye. There's a beautiful smile hidden behind your pain. That's why your cheeks are so high. You are the color of dark clouds from the hurricanes I create in September. I made your lips so full and thick, so when you kiss, they will remember. Your stature is strong, your bone structure is thick, to withstand the burden of time. The reflection you see in the mirror is the image, that image that looks back, that's mine. So get off your knees, look in the mirror and tell me what you see. I didn't make you in the image of darkness, I made you in the image of me.
All right. My goodness. That's a handful. Now, I guess I'm highly favored because I'm two-tone, black and white. Which side of my skin are you prejudiced against? Right? Does my skin make me? Or the inside, the spirit? Okay. Mr. Rogers, you want to say something?
A couple of things. Yes. First of all, I'd like to thank Ms. Phillips for once again putting together a nice history program. Very, very good. Sister, why don't you come and grab a seat? There's seats in here. You don't have to stand. Oh, okay. All right. So we want to thank her for that. She's been doing this for years and continuing. Also for you coming out and for the participants who felt that it was not, that it was okay for them to get up to say some things about Black History Month. Certainly a phenomenal month. I won't be here. You know, most of us, our days are limited, but somewhere down the road, I really believe that there will be a day where color will not really matter. I was reading an article some time ago, and really not that long ago, where they talked about multiculturalism and how we're moving actually to a place where multiracial individuals is going to be the norm. Mm-hmm. And to have someone that's black and someone who's white is going to actually be looked at as sort of strange. Could you picture that for a minute? Mm-hmm. You know, And so this racial divide that we have, you know, Dr. King talked about, you know, how he wished that all black little boys and black little girls could get together. And it may never be that way, but it may show up in a different kind of way.
Amen.
In a way of multiculturalism. And wouldn't that be interesting? One of my favorite Black history moments, you know, I often hear of is Rosa Parks. And she's not the one, you know, and on December the 5th in 1865, December the 1st actually, decided not to sit on the back of the bus as she was coming from work, you know. But right here in New York, almost 100 years before her, Elizabeth Jennings Graham, on 3rd Avenue, decided not to sit on the back of the streetcar. And so she's always been kind of my favorite Black history moment, because I'm saying, gee whiz, 100 years prior to Rosa Parks, during President Lincoln, during his administration, you know, this young lady on her way to church one Sunday morning, she was on her way to Abyssinia, decided that she wasn't going to sit in the back of the streetcar. In those days, we had streetcars. We had horse-drawn streetcars that was on rails, and they only traveled from north to south. They didn't travel from the east side of the Manhattan to the west side.
All right.
Next, we will have our skit by Professor McAllister.
Wonderful. You got your soul. That's good. Sean Lucas is going to step up here and assist me. He was in my advanced filmmaking class, doing so well now. Acting does help. So basically, I'm going to narrate off the top of my head. I have a PowerPoint presentation across the hall, so I don't want to disrupt how we're seated right now, so we're not like going to go over there right now. We'll go after, and then while we're up, we'll come back and have something to eat. So here's a slave plotting to gain his freedom in the plantation. This is what you consider a field negro. Boy, where you going? Why are you in shackles?
In shackles because I am trapped.
How so?
Because them folk came over to the motherland of my ancestors and brought them over here.
What year was that? And where did they land?
First, they landed, was in 1500s, and then some of my ancestors escaped. It was in South Carolina. No, North Carolina, excuse me.
Well, boy, let me get you straight. There was a ship flying a Dutch flag, and it came to the port of Virginia in 1619.